Welcome to another edition of the Sports Board. And we are back. We got the full crew in the house. That is what it's all about. The Yankees, out of any team in the league, are the best equipped to handle a blow like this.
I think there is a higher power at play here. He's due law of averages. That dude is the ultimate scrub. It's trash. Yeah. Every person you have in there is fucking trash.
Next game, you're going to see a big performance. You can see it in the end of the game, and I'm just totally stoked and excited for this.
How are we doing?
Prefer, can you hear us, bud?
I think we're back.
How are we doing?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, there we
All
go.
right. Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. But
And you have Craigo Crypto Corner in the background. How the disrespect.
But first says we're good. But yeah, once again, welcome to another edition of the Sports Port. Barnes, Michael, Football Friday, Wild Card Weekend. The demise of the New York Mets begins tonight.
Wow.
Can't wait to talk about that. But we got to talk about football first. So let's go to the world of the National Football League.
6 for 101, 2 touchdowns. To Evans, touchdown, Tampa Bay. How about that throw? Sam Darnold blasted. Oh my goodness, did he take a hit? In trouble once, brings him down. Lost one from Odell Beckham Jr. Got it down, touchdown.
Right, all right. So we have to start, obviously. We did have Thursday night football last night, and not the game that we expected between the Indianapolis Colts and the Denver Broncos. The Colts winning 12-9 last night in overtime, and there was a scenario where this game could have ended in a tie. You know, Denver opting, near the goal line there on fourth down to go for it instead of kicking the field goal, which would have given Indianapolis, their second tie of the season, something that hasn't happened since 1973. Since they instituted the overtime rule. So I just thought that was crazy. But the story of this game is, obviously the Colts get an ugly win, good for them. But the struggles of the Denver Broncos continue. Russell Wilson, 21 of 39, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions, sacked 4 times, a QBR of 15.9. Just an absolutely atrocious game. And I mentioned, the end of the game there, going for it on 4th down. And he had a wide open KJ Hamler on the right side of the field. Doesn't even look his way. Tries to force it into Cortland Sutton, who was covered by Stephon Gilmore, the former defensive player of the year. So just an awful game for Russ. And, in that situation, it was funny on the post game. Not that I like him, but Richard Sherman was saying, this reminds me of a similar situation. Just run the football. Like, what were you thinking there? I did some research into this too, because I just don't quite get it. It's not like Russ is 45 years old hanging on by a thread. Why is this happening? What's going on? And a lot of sentiment is, when people watch back the tape here, is the fact that, he's not going through his progressions. He's going for deep balls, and he's kind of just, in a sense, winging it. And I understand, you got $245 million, this offseason when they acquired you. But I think it's pretty pathetic. It's a pretty bad look for Russ. And I think his reputation, is really struggling. But I don't know. Can he turn it around? How much of this is on Nathaniel Hackett? Because this is just not good right now. I mean, in all seriousness, your offense last year with Teddy Bridgewater scored more points. And I just think that's absolutely pathetic. I know you're missing Javonte Williams, but Melvin Gordon looked pretty good. Mike Boone on his 7 carries, averaged 5.4 yards per carry. You have Jerry Jeudy. You're not using him. 8 targets, but he only had 3 catches. So clearly, Wilson's not in sync with everybody. So at the end of the day, this is just a complete embarrassment for the Broncos. They fall to 2-3. The Colts go to 2-2-1. And like I said, it wasn't pretty for them either. Matt Ryan, no touchdowns with the 2 interceptions. And this was the first game ever between 2 quarterbacks that have made 4 Pro Bowls, a minimum of 4 Pro Bowls, where there were no touchdowns scored in regulation, or the whole game, actually, now that I think about it, including overtime. So that is just pathetic. And, it doesn't get easier for the Broncos after this. They have to go to Los Angeles to face the Chargers next week for Monday Night Football. And then after that, a game against the Jets. And I mean, hey,
it's over.
You would think the Jets are playing inspired football right now. You can't just mark that down as a win. And then they play Jacksonville and Tennessee on the road before returning home for the Raiders. So all is not good there, at least for the Colts, 2-2-1 through these first 5 games. So you have to hope they just get it together. I mentioned him a bunch of times. Alec Pierce answering the call again, 8 catches, 81 yards. So he's really developing some rapport with Matt Ryan. And speaking of Ryan, I mentioned the 2 interceptions, 26 of 41 for 251 yards. So you expect him to play better. And then Philip Lindsay and Deion Jackson filled in decently, combining for 24 carries and 102 yards on the ground after Nadeem Hines left that game with an injury. So the Colts are staying afloat. Obviously, they need to go on some type of run here. 2 divisional games coming up, at home versus Jacksonville, and then on the road in Tennessee. And obviously, we saw them get shut out by Jacksonville in Jacksonville on week 2. So it'll be interesting to see if they can bounce back. So obviously, at the end of the day, both teams, don't look good. I guess I would favor the Colts just because the division's wide open. I think the Chiefs, the Chargers, should really surpass the Broncos here. And who knows, maybe even the Raiders. Maybe this is a deep tailspin. And I think a big thing too is, this is just definitely an indictment on Nathaniel Hackett. And we talked about this yesterday. We just, Tony had the Broncos winning and turning it around. But, I know you're on my side here, Michael. This really looks like the beginning of the end for Russell Wilson. And he's not getting any support anywhere. No one has any confidence in him at this point.
Not even Sierra.
No, So that could be another quarterback divorce looming. We'll have to see what happens. But that's all we had. But just really just a pretty brutal.
I'm glad I didn't
game.
watch it.
Yeah, I mean all the memes, and then the funniest thing. There's a clip on Twitter if you guys want to check it out. I think Barstool posted it, but where Al Michaels, he's just saying something to kind of say it, and he literally goes, "Yeah, sometimes a game is so bad it's good. You know what I mean?" And literally, Kirk Herbstreit goes, "No," because it was literally that bad. And Michaels really had some one-liners, so that was obviously hilarious. But we know what time it is. We got a bunch of games, starting with the London at 9:30 on Sunday between the Giants and the Packers. So let's do, Michael, the football frenzy.
I'm excited. Let me get some music up here. Actually, you know what? Forget it. We're just gonna get right into it. 9:30, dude. Wow, that's a great game, though, huh? Do you know who's playing?
The Packers and the New York Giants.
They're both 3-1, Brian. Who do you have?
So I just wanted to check the injury report here. I know Jones is banged up with the ankle. I guess he's going to give it a go. But come on. I mean, I know the Giants have had a nice start here, but you can't expect them to beat Green Bay. And I know Green Bay has an uneven start. Running games look good. Defenses look good. Rodgers still struggling to find a rapport with his receivers. We saw that crucial drop that caused the game to go into overtime last week with Dobbs. Luckily, they squeaked out that win against New England. This time around, though, I think it'll be a little easier. So I'm going to say Packers 28, Giants 10. I think the Giants really struggle to score here, knowing that Daniel Jones can't roll out, force him in the pocket, maybe get some interceptions. And I think this Green Bay Packer defense will keep running back Saquon Barkley at bay.
I love it. I love it. Now, actually, speaking of Renee, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers at 1-3 up against the Buffalo Bills at 3-1 at 1 o'clock. Who do you got?
Renee, I apologize in advance here. You look at this highest spread of the week with the Pittsburgh Steelers, 14-point underdogs here in Buffalo. So I think, as Tony would say, the Bills will make minced meat of the Steelers here. Let's say 45-17. The Buffalo Bills over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Josh Allen, 5 touchdowns, including 4 through the air.
I love it. I love it. All right, going to the next game, 1 o'clock game. We have the Chargers at 2-2 versus the shitty Browns at 2-2.
Browns hanging in there, probably better than everyone thought here, without Deshaun Watson starting Jacoby Brissett. The Chargers have rebounded after a disappointing start to their season, so looking to kind of get some sustainability here going forward, and obviously want to be in the playoffs after missing out last season with that final game. So I'll go with the Chargers. I know they're without Keenan Allen, but Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, just to name a few. I mean, I think that's enough for a quarterback as talented as Justin Herbert, and you think day by day, week by week, he's getting healthier and healthier. And I like this Chargers defense as well. So give me the Chargers here. Let's say 31-17 over the Cleveland Browns.
All righty then. What about the next game? We have the Chicago Bears versus the Minnesota Vikings.
All right. So
2-2 and 3-1.
So Chicago, obviously better start than everyone expected. And same thing with the Vikings, 3-1. And I know Kirk Cousins, he's the definition of mediocrity. But still, the Minnesota Vikings here, way more talented, and especially Justin Fields on the road. Team doesn't trust him to throw. He doesn't trust his receivers. Sure, they have Khalil Herbert on the ground, but that's not enough. I think Cousins will have a vintage game through the air here. 350 and 3 scores, including 2 to Justin Jefferson, who will have 160 yards receiving. Vikings 35, Bears 10.
Wow. All right. The Detroit Lions at 1-3 versus what people are calling a quarterback, controversy in New England at 1-3 as well.
So you look at New England, and obviously, Belichick is always tight-lipped about what's going on over there. They're calling Mac Jones questionable. I just really don't see that happening. I mean, that high ankle sprain looked pretty bad. So I think what they're going to have to do here is play, the rookie quarterback once again, Bailey Zappi, who looked decent last week. And I know the Lions defense is awful, But I just think this is a game where I think the Lions offense is so much better than New England Patriots offense that they win in somewhat of a shootout, which is kind of weird, just in terms of the total amount of points scored. So I'm going to say actually Lions 49-21 over the New England Patriots. Jared Goff, 6 touchdown passes as the Lions get their second victory of the season. Bill Belichick left sobbing in his office at 1-4.
Wow. All right, the next game, 1:00, Seattle versus New Orleans.
All right. So, I mean, you think about this game, looks like Winston's going to be out once again. Andy Dalton filled in last week. Wasn't enough, though, as they fell to the Vikings in London. Geno Smith, best quarterback rating and completion percentage in the league here. Yeah. I still, I think I have to see it one more time. So give me New Orleans. Kamara will be back here. Michael Thomas, questionable. But I just think overall, just a better team than Seattle. And I could see the defense of New Orleans, at home here, giving Geno trouble. So in a defensive battle here, we saw the Seahawks in that shootout with Detroit last week. I'm going to say New Orleans 21, Seattle 10, Geno Smith, 3 picks, season low, 48% completion percentage.
And the only game that matters today, Sunday, the Miami Dolphins versus our New York Jets.
So you have Teddy Bridgewater, filling in here for Tua Tagovailoa. The Dolphins obviously have been impressive at 3-1. Losing their first game of the season last week to Cincinnati in a tough one. Obviously Tua going out with the injury. Look at the Jets that went over the Steelers last week. 2-2 is 2-2. You think about the fourth quarter for Zach Wilson, and we were talking before the show, some question about the play calling. Are they putting Zach in the best position to win? So this is probably his biggest game of his career, just to think the magnitude.
It's the biggest game of solace too.
If they could win this, because this really changed the narrative for the season. And listen, 2-2 is still a decent amount, ahead of where everyone expected at this point, especially considering Joe Flacco had to start the first 3 games. So I'm going to say in the upset possibly of the season up to this point, the New York Jets at home, finally getting that home win, 0-2 so far this season, over the Miami Dolphins, 27-26. And this is going to be virtue of a 60-yard field goal from Legatron at the buzzer.
Zach Wilson?
And we will see Zach Wilson maybe carried off the field at the end of the game. I could see him having a very good game here. 3 touchdown passes, all the Garrett Wilson.
Oh, yeah.
And he really shows why he was the second overall pick in the draft last year.
Love it. The next game, Tom Brady versus Atlanta.
Tom Brady has not lost 3 straight games in his career since his second season. He is undefeated in his career, I believe 10-0 against the Atlanta Falcons, including that victory in the Super Bowl a few years back with the big comeback. And I just, as much as I love, ripping on the Bucks, I just am trying to be as fair as possible here. Atlanta, Mariota, they've won 2 games, but he's not exactly lighting it up. And I just think the Bucks are hungry. Brady's fired up, alimony looming, all of that. So let me say we're going to see the Bucks here. Brady wants to score some points. 35-24 over Atlanta as Tampa Bay moves to 3-2.
And the last 1:00 game, Tennessee versus Washington.
Kind of a tough game here. Ryan Tannehill versus Carson Wentz. One of those things, and Dave and Rick were actually talking about it this morning, where why is the line only 1.5? Why is it moving down? Why are people taking Washington? This seems so obvious. Derrick Henry. We just talked about this yesterday, and that's why I had the Colts with the Broncos. When you think it's obvious, it's always the other way. So I'm going to stick with that narrative, and somehow Washington finds a way for their second victory of the season. Carson Wentz, I don't think Tennessee's defense is that good. So let's say Wentz actually goes for 325, 2 touchdowns, both to Terry McLaurin. Somehow they bottle up Derrick Henry, let's say 20 carries for 60 yards. Washington 28, Tennessee 10.
All right. And the first 4 o'clock game, actually, San Francisco 49ers, Jimmy G versus the Carolina Panthers.
We talk about minced meat a lot on this show. Baker Mayfield. Oh my God. I mean, I think Sam Darnold, I mean, it's a matter of time here before he gets inserted into this lineup. Baker's finished. Really just has had terrible start to this season. And I know positions and all that, like, success, putting him in the successful spot to win. But you still got to play better than this. And Jimmy G, isn't great either, but this Niners defense, I think, overwhelms Baker Mayfield. Kyle Shanahan outcoaches Matt Rule. And I think the Niners get it going on the ground. Maybe run for 150, 200 yards on the ground here. Jimmy G, high percentage throws. Deebo Samuel getting involved. So let's say the Niners here, 31-3 over Carolina. Potentially Matt Rule's last game as head coach of the Carolina Panthers as he moved to 1-4.
Wow. All right. Philadelphia versus the Cardinals.
A week of upsets, Michael. Nothing points to Arizona winning this game, but that's why you take them. They look like a dead carcass here, as Mad Dog would say. They are at home, though. And I just think the Eagles, might take this one lightly. Classic overlooked spot. So I'm going to say Arizona finally gets that offense going. And this is going to be a shootout. But Arizona, Matt Prater from 59 at the buzzer, 31-28, coming back from a 21-0 halftime deficit.
Wow. Impressive. Cooper Rush versus the Chargers.
You mean the Rams?
Yeah.
So you look at this game, and obviously Rush has been on a roll, winning his 3 starts this year. The Dallas defense is playing great. Stafford and the Rams are struggling, other than getting the ball to Cooper Kupp and Tyler Higbee. Give me the Rush mania, baby. I think he goes to 5-0 career as a starter. Controversy looms with Dak here. So Dallas in a defensive game here, 17-10 over the Rams.
Okay. The next game, the Bengals. This is going to be a sick game. Bengals versus the Ravens.
All right. So you look at this one. Definitely some disappointment here for Baltimore at 2-2. Same to be said for Cincinnati. Obviously, those first 2 games losing, but winning the last 2 to even the record at 2-2. Huge game in the division. But I just have a feeling, everything points to Cincinnati here. Because of the way that Baltimore's crumbled. The defense looks terrible, but it's Lamar Jackson, man. And I just think he finds a way to win this game. I think he goes for 5 total touchdowns. Baltimore, 42. Cincinnati, 35. Really topping the game from last night, the 12-9 standalone. I think this one will fare quite better. NBC football, Sunday night.
Love it. This is actually the Raiders versus the Chiefs, dude, who are the best team in football, I think.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes leads the league in QBR. We've seen the magic that he has displayed over these last couple of years. And the one thing that would make you say, maybe the Raiders here, they're really going to start 1-4, Devontae Adams, all that. But unfortunately for them, the Raiders are going to start 1-4. Kansas City is just a well-oiled machine. You have Mahomes, you have Kelsey. That's all you need. The other pieces can filter in. It doesn't matter. Mahomes, Andy Reid, they're just that good. So I'm actually going to say Kansas City here, 35, Raiders 21. McDaniels and Carr in some trouble. We'll see, but definitely a very disappointing start through 5 games here for the Las Vegas Raiders.
I love it, dude. And then I think that's it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That is a full slate of football. Can't
Just
wait.
A quick few comments from before.
Yeah.
But first saying Barnes thinks I always hate him, but I want to hear what he has to say. And then it says Friday shows are fast. Well,
it's called a frenzy.
It's called a frenzy.
And no. I know before you enjoy the banter with the Mets. And speaking of,
yes,
we got to talk about it. Let's go to the world of Major League Baseball.
2-2, he got him swinging. The back-to-back strikeouts for Robbie Ray. There's damage right there. Shohei, way, Cy Young. Nada, where did that land? Stuck to Chapman, who leaps up and grabs it.
Story spins it, fires. Out at first.
There it goes. See ya. Home run, Aaron Judge.
You would think I would say, man, I wish the Yankees were playing tonight. But if the Yankees were playing tonight, they would be in the wild card series like the New York Mets. So, of course, we'll wait till Tuesday. Can't wait to see who they're matched up against. So I think
they have to wait for the wild card, right?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
The winner of the Rays Guardians series. So I think what would be appropriate, and the last game of the night actually is the New York Mets. So we'll talk about that in a little more detail. But first, Michael, if you would, let's do a frenzy for these 4 games.
I shall.
So
let me go to MLB.com. Yada, yada, yada. Shish, boom, bada. All right, cool. We've got a good slate up. For the first game, it's at 12?
12, yeah.
Wow. Are you kind of like hyped to see those notifications come through?
Oh, yeah, man.
All right, cool.
This game is most important.
Yeah, I know. All right, we got Tampa Bay, who's historically hurt us recently, versus the Cleveland Indians.
All right.
Guardians.
So, you look at this game and, in our preview of the wild card matchups yesterday, I did pick the Guardians for the series. So I am going to roll with them, but this is going to be quite the pitcher's duel. Shane Bieber, obviously former Cy Young Award winner, and then Shane McClanahan, most likely, this year's Cy Young Award winner after leading the league in earned run average. Very impressive season for him. But I just think this is a situation where the Rays' inability to score runs will come back to bite. And we've just seen the Guardians really rise up to the occasion. What a second half surge here. So this is what I think happens. I think we have 6 shutout innings for both pitchers here. Then we tap into the bullpens. And Jose Ramirez, the former MVP, finds a way to hit a 2-run homer. And I'm going to say 2-0 Guardians in a pitcher's duel. And the Guardians will be 1 victory away after today of facing the New York Yankees.
Wow. All right, we have Philly versus St. Louis at 2:07 p.m. Eastern time.
First game I've ever seen on ABC for baseball, that's for sure. So you look at this one, and I saw something on Twitter. Somebody's picking the Phillies, but listen, I mean, first of all, Quintana never was a Quintana guy. Was glad the Yankees last couple of years thinking about getting him back. They don't. Zach Wheeler, better pitcher. Philly's been, I guess, hot the last series or two, but before that, train wreck. And I just think there's something special. The power of the machine, Albert Pujols here. And what a dramatic way for his last postseason to start than a walk-off home run off former Yankee pitcher who we've seen him blow it before, David Robertson. And I'm going to say this is going to be a 5-4 Cardinals victory. Albert Pujols, that walk-off solo shot, bottom of the 9th. What a first 2 games today we are going to see.
I love that. I love the, I think I have a feeling that St. Louis is going to go pretty far.
Yeah.
Just because of the whole, Pujols narrative. Just seeing a story, actually, latest news, Pujols nearly retired in June.
Yeah, I saw that. And then ever since that home run derby, he just really turned it up.
I love it. All right, the next game is Seattle versus Toronto.
All right, so you look at this one, Alex Manoah versus Luis Castillo. So great pitchers match up. You feel like the Jays, their fans are going to be fired up. Been a while since we've seen a home game in Toronto for the playoffs. Mariners, first time in the playoffs in 21 seasons. So, looking at this, I just feel like I have to go with the Mariners. And I know everything points to the Blue Jays, in these short series, having home field advantage for the entirety of the series, really is a benefit. But I just think the Mariners, there's something special about this season for them. Just to advance to the division series, I think would be a major victory. And that's why I think they're going to do that. Probably pitchers too early, maybe scoreless through 5. But then I'm going to say Julio Rodriguez will get the boys fired up. 2-run shot off Manoah in the 6th. Mariners 4-2 over the Blue Jays.
I love it, dude. And I think the game most people who watch the show are most interested in watching is the San Diego Padres versus the New York Mets.
All right. So, we look at this one and I understand it. Believe me, I really do. That everything would point to the Mets winning this game just because the Padres, if there's one thing you could count on this season, is that you can't count on the Padres because they've been a massive disappointment since Juan Soto came over. But is it not Met-like to lose this game? I mean, Darvish is a great pitcher. We've seen the Mets struggle against great pitchers. The classic fashion that the Mets blew this division, and I know you can say they won 101 games, they had a great season, this, that, the other thing. However, it remains a fact that you got swept by the Chicago Cubs. You won one of those games because you finished with an identical record to the Atlanta Braves. You would have been division champs. But the fact that you couldn't do that, the fact that the offense has been so inconsistent, and I've said this so many times, you need to hit home runs in the postseason. I honestly think, I did pick the Padres in this series. I think this is going to be a 2-game sweep. DeGrom tomorrow, can't rely on him. I think this one, though, another pitcher. So a lot of great pitchers on the hill today. A lot of guys in contentions for Cy Young Award winners, of course, like Scherzer. So I'm going to say scoreless through 6. The Mets, I want to say maybe go to Ottavino early. We've seen him get nervous in high pressure situations in the past. I know this season, he's been pretty good. And the Met killer, Juan Soto, grand slam in the 7th. Mets get shut out today, 4-0. The sky is falling. Dave Rothenberg, I would love to know the amount of damage at his home after this game.
I'm just curious, why aren't they starting with like Scherzer or DeGrom?
No, they're starting Scherzer. He's facing Darvish.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
But listen, and I feel bad for Tony. I know, he's been waiting a while for a season like this, but you said it from the beginning of the year. I said it from the beginning of the year. This year is just not that year.
Yeah.
It's about the other team in New York.
Yeah.
The New York Yankees. And I don't know, man. I mean, they're going to give it their best shot. But I just think the way they finished, it's always a collapse. It just always is a collapse. And I know their final record over the last couple of months was decent, but the fact is when you needed it most, that series against the Braves, you got swept there too. So you got swept by the Cubs, the Braves. Those are 6 losses. Think about you went just 1-5. 1-5. You're telling me you can't go 1-5? I don't know.
I know, it's tough.
Something, as we would say, I smell a rat.
Yeah, in the dugout.
And I know you want to see the Subway Series.
I
but
do.
I don't know if this is the year, man.
I know it's tough because, they have gotten a lot better though.
Yeah,
but it's like the same.
I'm trying to think. Were you here when I was talking to Tony yesterday about the whole Buck Showalter in the movie thing that they were talking about? I think you heard this on Rick and David a couple months ago, but they played actually as a bite, and so Rick goes, yeah, for the movie about this year's Mets team. Oh my God, the guys. Hold on a second. Okay, yeah. Philip Seymour Hoffman has to play Buck, and
oh yeah. He's
like, you realize he's dead.
Yeah,
Rick, right? It is funny though, just from the look. I mean, it would actually have been perfect.
I know it's so funny,
but yeah, I just thought that was funny. But that one will get underway. 8:07. I would imagine packed house. Obviously, Mets haven't been in the playoffs in 6 seasons. Great night weather-wise.
Beautiful night. If you had tickets, would you go?
No.
Like someone was like, "Yo, Barnes, I'll pay for everything."
If it was a box. But that's just a truthful answer. Now.
I know. It's awesome.
What about you? Wait, and you had to sit upper deck.
I'm more chill. When I went to the Yankees and Mets
Right.
Subway Series for
Right.
9/11, I still had Tony sitting at the bar at one of the bars out there.
Yeah.
Like it was more entertaining to sit over there and watch the game than
Yeah, I gotcha.
actually sit in those seats.
Yeah.
The Yankees, obviously, I'm more engaged.
And isn't it nuts that Monday we're gonna be sitting in these seats and all these questions will be answered. The series will be over. It's just a quick talk about a frenzy.
I know.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Who knows
Done.
if we'll need 3 games? I think it might be 2. But just for Tony's sake, good luck to the New York Mets. But I just have to be objective here, and that's what I see. So I guess we'll see what happens, right?
I guess so. I wish Tony was here to defend himself.
Yeah.
Any Mets fans out there? If you want to comment, chime in, go ahead. But yeah, I honestly, I'm gonna stick with my theory, and I'm gonna go Subway Series. So Mets lose game 1, and then I'll make my prediction after that. Obviously, they're gonna win the next 2. But
All right. So we'll see about that. And then you did want to talk about, I guess, the Knicks back in action tonight,
Yep.
preseason. What do we got?
Yes, I'm just gonna go
I
to
know
the
they're
world
playing
of the
the-
NBA.
The Bulls go. LeBron James at the buzzer. He banks in the 3. And the Lakers win the game.
Now I know it's just preseason, folks, but if you're a Knicks fan, you have a lot to be looking forward to and hopeful for with this team. I think you're going to be really impressed. And just like RJ Barrett said in the preseason media day, they're going to shock the world. And they're going to continue that with a 2-0 performance tonight, going up against the Pacers. They're both 1-0, but the Pacers team, dude, have you seen their roster?
Yeah.
Oh,
What roster?
yeah, exactly. So I'm going to just tell you my predictions. I actually have a real for the big 3.
Okay.
RJ will have 28 points, 6 rebounds, 70% from 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's huge.
He's been working on that. So he's 100% in the preseason from free throw line, which is nice. He really worked on that a lot. I know it sounds stupid, but it isn't. Brunson, his first game he's going to have as a Knick with 10 assists plus with 15 points. Shooting, Tony's going to like this. 69% from the field with 0 turnovers. And Julius Randle, 19 points, 10 boards. You're going to like this. He's going to be more of a rebounding player this year. You're going to see him in the trenches more. You're going to see 55% from 3. And then, obviously a win. That game is at 7:00. And then the other game, if you're into basketball like I am, and if I'm not going to be watching all these games all the time, but keep a lookout for certain players. And Bol is finally healthy. Like I said, he's getting minutes with the Orlando Magic and their rookie Paolo or whatever his name is, Jalen Suggs down there, and Mo Bamba. I really like that Orlando team. They're young and long and stretch the floor really well, and they could all shoot, which is cool. And they got don't they have Wagner? Is it them that has Wagner? Yes, they have the Wagner brothers.
Yeah,
Franz,
but Franz is the better one.
Yeah, so they have him too. They got a great squad. That game's at 8:00 against Luka Doncic and the Mavs. So if you're, if you're bored of the Mets losing, go on and watch the Orlando Magic preseason game.
Yeah, no, a lot of young talent there. Wendell Carter Jr. as well. So Franz Wagner, a rookie last season,
Yes.
15.2 points per
Great
game.
rookie season.
Yeah, he was actually on my fantasy basketball team last year. And
Are you doing that this year?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh,
We finished second last year, so hoping to win it this year. Was my first time finishing that high before, so I think we're only up from here. But basketball around the corner, a lot of storylines out there, so can't wait to watch that. And we'll definitely keep you guys posted the entire way. And then one other thing I just wanted to mention, we did have the first day of the Shriners Children's Open yesterday. And just wanted to give everybody a leaderboard update. I know, obviously, with the time difference, there haven't been too many guys out on the course just yet, but we do have a couple. So right now, the Jägermeister in first, Steven Yeager, 8 under par, tied with Tom Hoagie. And then Kevin Streelman tied with Siwoo Kim, Maverick McNeely, and yeah, so the three-way tie for third place technically because of the tie at first, and then you got Tom Kim here, 6 under par. That was Tony's pick. And my pick, JT Poston, 5 under par. So both of our guys in contention early. 72 degrees right now in Las Vegas. So must be a great time to be out there, support a good cause. That's what it's all about. So we will have a champion Sunday night, and we will talk about that on Monday. The one other thing I just wanted to mention, I just saw this come through with the comments.
Yeah.
Actually, there was a couple comments, but the first one, what do you think about prefer saying Paul Giamatti to play Buck
I know.
Showalter?
Let me see.
I don't see that at all. I mean,
I gotta
first
see
of all,
what
the
he-
hair. I mean, the body maybe, but I think I know he's lost weight recently, so maybe it's actually similar to Buck, or Buck might even be fatter at this point. But no, prefer that's pretty bad,
Let me
right?
see. Yeah,
No.
We're doing it. We're looking. Prefer.
And then your thoughts on Toronto Raptors signing Hustle movie star Juancho Hernan Gomez?
Hernan Gomez, aka Bo Cruz. I think that's cool. He had a good FIBA Euro tournament.
Yep.
He won MVP.
Now, brother though of Willie?
Yes.
Did you used to like Willie?
No,
never.
You
Never
know
was
why?
liver.
Because he was so unathletic and he
Yep,
had no
just a big bopper.
could rebound and stuff. Like cool, like good for you.
Yeah.
But I like him. He's got some game. So I was kind of upset he didn't get more of a chance. So yeah, good for him, man.
Yeah. So
And before we go,
wow.
he almost forgot.
Almost did the Prism Pack reveal.
And today we'll only do one.
All right.
And tomorrow, Barnes will open up one. We'll
Also known as Monday.
Oh yeah, Monday. We'll rotate it out, folks.
Just so everybody knows.
Yesterday was a little bit different. We did 2, just because it's been so long.
Oh yeah, man.
And Renee's getting the camera. I'm gonna open it up a little bit. Here we go. I'm gonna cut to this camera. Put me up here too. Bang! Look at that. All right, so opening it up. Ooh, okay. I could already see. First of all, Bojan Bogdanovic is the first card.
Utah, or is he traded now?
Utah one.
Is he where he got traded though? Didn't he or no?
I don't think he's traded yet. They're trying to. So at least we have that. We have Mike Conley on the Utah Jazz, which is kind of beat, but it's all right.
the straightforwardness out of Michael there, you gotta appreciate that.
Right, yeah. And this next card is real beat. You're gonna love this one. You are gonna love this one. It's DeAndre Jordan on the Nets.
Wow.
But this next one isn't bad because I think he is gonna carve out a good career. And it's Rui Hachimura.
I always liked Hachi.
I knew when I saw this card, I knew you're gonna like this card.
I think he's just got to get the opportunity.
He will,
and he's got to produce. This has got to be a big year.
This is a huge year. It's his third year.
I believe so, and I think too, like this year for him. I know they play different positions, but needs to be like RJ's year last year.
Yes, exactly, and he will.
And then if he could follow that up the next season with the big year that RJ is going to have,
and folks,
he'll be right where he needs to be.
Also, make sure if you have cards, get the casing. Don't play around. Put them right in there. Oh, Renee's still filming. I got you guys. Put them right in there. Slide it in. Because then when you go and get them graded, like, I just opened it. So now you get them graded and they're going to be 10 rating. So
just a fresh look.
Need them.
But
in case, folks.
Nothing like ripping those packs for the Prism Pack reveal.
I love it. What a great show. And prefer, by the way, see? 44 minutes, 45 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, that's not too
That's
far
our
off the
average. 45
yeah.
to an hour, 15.
Yeah.
In that span is what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. And a little different, too, with baseball not in full effect. Obviously,
True.
A lot to recap on Monday.
When NHL's back in the groove.
We're going to be talking 2 hours before you really have to take some time off of work to catch up on these episodes. But as always, we really do appreciate everybody tuning in and continuing to comment, like, and subscribe. Checking out the archives on the YouTube page, the merch, downtimetv.com. Everybody enjoy the day, enjoy the games, enjoy the weekend, and we will see you Monday.
Hey guys, Tony here from Downtime TV checking in. I want to thank all our fans out there who's been liking, subscribing, sharing our content. You guys are the best. You guys are our bloodline. You make us love what we do.